up to the news. New reports on the health and well-being of the children during the COVID-19 pandemic. This is according to the CDC. The CDC is releasing the new reports in the MMWR that provide important insight on the health and well-being of children and adolescents during the COVID-19 pandemic. The first report looks at pediatric emergency department visits. The second report examined changes in pediatric emergency departments visits for adolescent girls 12 through 17, increased eating disorders for females, particularly early indications and expanded evidence based on prevention and intervention strategies are critical to improving children's mental health, and especially among the adolescent females who might have increased need. Now here's news from the Biden administration. Fact sheet securing a made in America supply chain for critical minerals. Critical minerals provide the building blocks for many modern technologies and are essential to our national security and our prosperity. And Executive Order 14017, America's supply chain, signed 1 year ago, this week, ordered a of vulnerabilities in our critical minerals and material supply chains within 100 days. In addition to working with partners and allies to diversity sustainable sources, the reports expand domestic mining, production, processing, recycling of critical minerals. President Biden will announce that the Department of Defense's industrial base race analysis and sustainment program has awarded MBM Materials $35 million to separate and process heavy rare earth elements at its faculty in maintaining Post, California, establishing a full and domestic permanent for an integrated supply chain. Yeah. Berkshire Hathaway Energy Renewables will announce that this spring they will break ground on a new demonstration faculty in Imperial County. Real Wood Minerals will discuss a pilot in partnership with Ford for the collection and regarding of lithium and batteries at its Nevada basal faculties to extract lithium, cobalt, nickel, and graphite. Fractional and whatever this word is, we'll discuss DOE's first fruits find $440 million demonstration project funded by the bipartisan infrastructure law. She will also discuss $3 million in BLL funding to invest in the refining battery materials such as lithium, cobalt, nickel, and graphite, and battery recycling faculties, creating good paying clear energy manufacturing jobs. Yeah. MP Minerals recently announced consolidation for Earth Mineral Ally and magnet manufacturing faculty in Texas, and a long-term supply agreement with General Motors. In addition to BHE will control thermal resources and energy source minerals Love established operations in Imperial County to extract lithium from Maine. Tesla intends to source high-grade nickel EV batteries from Talon Metals' Taranock Nickel project under development in Minnesota. Updated minerals, chemical and litigated, updating and pursuing the federal list of critical minerals, strengthen critical minerals stockpile. Basically, what this is that the administration is taking nature from the earth and using it as a resource to go on ahead and build new materials. Okay. With cooperation with factories to create a green environment. You know. All right, the latest news from the Justice Department. Massachusetts man arrested on charges for assault on law enforcement during the January 6th Capitol breach. A Massachusetts man was arrested today for assault and battery law enforcement during the breach of the U.S. State's Capitol on January 6, 2021, which disrupted a joint session of U.S. Congress. Vince Gaspanite is 60 years old of Anthole, Massachusetts, is charged in a criminal complaint filed in the District of Columbia with assaulting, resisting, impeding officers, civil disorder, engaging in physical violence in a restricted building grounds, and related offenses. According to court documents, on January 6 for at least 4:11 to at least 4:25 p.m., shoving, yelling, and fighting. This incident was investigated by the United States Attorney's Office for District of Columbia and the Department of Justice National Security Division's Counterterrorism Section. In the past 13 months since January 6, more than 750 individuals have been arrested nearly in all 50 states. And that's the news for today. This is something that touched my heart because I love to get into the growth of God knowing there is more things to come for my future. So this is a really great sermon, and I hope you guys love it. And hopefully if you take the time to think about this for a second, because it's something that's really important that I think will help you in your journey as well as the trials and tribulations, because steadfast means you can grow in the bad times and good, and that is awesome. So we're going to turn to Psalms chapter 57, verse 7, which says, "My heart is steadfast, O God, my heart is steadfast. I will sing and give praise." Now, what that means is be thankful for where you're at in any position in your life, because that's going to actually give you more power and glory to God, as well as the power you will receive from Him Himself, because He wants you to grow and He wants you to keep doing what you're doing and more of what you're doing, because it's going to elevate you to a higher level in your life. And that is one of the greatest things that I admire. And sometimes you can stay in the same position knowing it gets a little bit more treacherous along the way. And there was something about what happened to me a couple of days ago that I really got scared of, but I felt like the devil was tempting me. Where I was looking at lingerie photos of a supermodel, and I was tempted to look at it. But it's like the Lord wanted me to be a little bit more obedient to my own sexuality. Look at the body, don't look at the pictures. In other words, don't look at the clothes. He was upgrading me to another level to accept that nudity is okay to be admired by, because I actually love it, but I'm afraid of it. And the lesson about this is that the more you spend time with God, the more you grow in His faith, because it's going to get you to do even more fantastic things. Like, for example, you can sing one song and then you can actually wind up singing 10 times more songs than you usually would in a single day. But I'm like, that's too much. I could get tired. I may not sing as good. God will expand your knowledge and show you ways that you can do this by yourself, which is amazing because I started out writing and producing one song, and it was a little bit cramped because I put too many words in it. Now we all know how that is when you're reading something way too much with too many words. But it was the first one, but then it was crazy because I wound up doing another one, and then another one, and then another one, and I kept doing writing, producing songs. So your faith grows into what you're doing because the experience helps you elevate yourself to do more and to do more. And that's what happens when, you're steadfast in your approach in faith with God. You just do more and more of what he's called you to do. Yep. That's like preaching in one country and then you wound up preaching in another one. And then you do more. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. That's crazy. I can't do too many more. Well, God has plans for every step. So it always works out. So let's turn to Job chapter 11, verse 15. And this will take just a minute. Let me see if I have it right. It's actually the next chapter, next book back. So let's see what we have here. And this is chapter 15. Let me see if I have it right. Then surely you can lift up your face without spot. Yes, you can be steadfast and not fear. Not fear means don't be afraid of the challenges ahead. In other words, if you're going to go on ahead and write one song and then another one, knowing what's going to be the next song, I don't know what it is. It means ask the Lord what to write and they'll tell you what to say. And that means don't be afraid of the challenge even if it's way too difficult. For example, I didn't know what to write for the next one, so I just went with my heart on it and just wrote the next one. But it's like, what am I going to come up with for the next sermon? Or what am I going to say to somebody if I've ever met them before? Or how am I going to follow the next step? I just ask the Lord, and then he just tells me what to do. And then I pray on it and I go on ahead and accomplish it. Because how that works in this process is that he can give you a vision for how you want to do it. And that vision comes from your heart. So what that means is you can always go one step, but you can go 2 steps further, and 3 and 4 and 5. To where it gets a little more challenging, but once you get used to it, you go much more further into the process than you might actually imagine. Think about that. Wow. I mean, Daystar on the air in almost every country around the world with 72 satellites. That's amazing. But that's a tough challenge getting to that point. That takes years of hard work. And it's a lot of money with a lot of equipment. That's big. But God had a plan. And that was basically to go with a strategic idea and an approach that would work for you. So that way, you can go on ahead and expand it and go even further with adjustments. And then grow into your faith as you move along. Well, that's it for the day. Thank you for watching and have a great day.